Hey, BA fam, let's be real for a second. And y'all know I keep it a buck. The job market in 2025 has been brutal. No, not brutal, trash, especially for women of color. Over 300,000 of us have disappeared from the workforce this year alone, and not by choice, but because of layoffs, disappearing DEI programs, and stagnant wages that keep cutting us out of opportunity. I was just talking to a woman, and she's like, what am I going to do? They're making me come back to office full time come January, 5 days a week. My whole life has been built around working remotely for the past 4 or 5 years. How am I supposed to act? Like, this is basically them telling me it's time to go. Our unemployment rate has jumped to over 7%, while our pay gap continues to widen. I know all of that sounds dire, but here's what I want y'all to know. You do not have to wait for the system to save you. We can build power right now. And in fact, I know you, and I believe in myself too. If we are capable of learning the skills we need to pivot and to lead our careers with intention, despite all of these headwinds and challenges against us, we are bound to succeed. These outside forces, these things that are outside of our control, it's not so much about changing them, it's about changing the way that we react to them, the way that we respond to them. That's exactly why I created the Mandi Money Makers group coaching community. It is a coaching community that is built for us by us. Inside the community, we're not just talking about how to negotiate or how to get the job that you want. It's about finding purpose in your career. It's about finding communities and others, feeling seen, feeling heard, and also having a sounding board and a mirror to reflect your own magic, your own sparkle right back to yourself. In this community, you'll get group coaching led by me, but you'll also get peer to peer accountability with proven tools and resources that can help you do what we have always done, sis: rise. Even when the odds are stacked against us, despite all the challenges, we will rise. If you're interested in joining the Mandi Moneymakers community and having that support to bolster you and help you tap back into your magic, so that you can lead your career with intention and heart and your own intuition, trusting that again, please join us. You can find information in the show notes of today's episodes or go to mandimoney.com/community. That's Mandi, Mandi, money.com/community. I would love to see y'all there. Enrollment is open. So please go check out mandimoney.com/community today. Hey, BA fam. You know what? At a certain point, I just have to hit record. I will sit here for hours talking to y'all in my head, preparing everything that I want to talk about, what's happening in the news, things that I think are really relevant, catching up. And I swear I've been sitting here for like 3, 4 hours and I'm like, girl, if you don't hit record, they're not going to get a show. And I just can't do that to y'all, not at a time like this. So, hello, BA fam. Welcome back to the show. It's your girl, Mandi Money. I could not be happier to be here with y'all today. It's snowing. I don't know what to make of that. It's it's Veterans Day. Shout out to our Black and Brown veterans. We see you, we honor you, and thank you so much for your service. And yes, your service matters, and we are just so grateful. So we want to honor you today. How are y'all doing? How are y'all feeling? Daylight savings time is over, so I want to do a check-in with my girls and guys. If y'all are struggling with the shorter days, the longer nights, I'm right there with you. I actually want to make a game plan with y'all, a game plan on how we are going to get through this dark winter. It can really start to affect your mood. It can make it hard to show up and do the work that you know you need to do to get the coins that you need to survive. I feel it. It also can feed into any anxiety and depression underlying that you may already have going on. It's so much harder to get up and push and to get through those difficult times when you look out the window and it's gross, it's gray, it's dark, it's gloomy. Something that has helped me, other than getting one of those therapeutic daylight monitors kind of things, I'll put a link to the comments that the one that my therapist recommended to me a few years ago. They're kind of the one that I have is big and clunky. She's a big girl. And I especially used to use this daylight. It's basically a big monitor, like the size of a computer monitor that shines bright daylight at you. And you use it sort of like a form of therapy. So in the morning, when I was working down in my cold, dark basement that barely had half a window, I especially needed that kind of light therapy. So I would plug it in. And I think it's recommended. I mean, you can talk to your doctor, but between like 20 to 30 minutes is what I was sort of going for. And I would try to do something, it's very bright. So I would try to meditate or just listen to some music while it was sort of just beaming on me. And it's meant to just be a way for your body to wake up, to know that it's daytime, and to literally, get your body to generate some energy and to can really help you stave off that seasonal depression. So that's one thing. But something that I'm trying this year because I don't have the same issue. I'm up in the daylight now. I have my office is set up. I have a window. I can look out of it. I can see the light. It's very nice. However, the shorter days do challenge me, especially when it comes to, just getting the time, getting the energy to work and to work for my after work job, which is, finishing the book, the Brown Ambition book. So for me, I'm leaning into the whole idea of romanticizing winter. I recently purchased a brand new pair of fuzzy, nice house slippers. I tend to run my house slippers ragged. For those of you who work from home and you're always in your slippers, like maybe you're with me, but I wear them joints out. So I needed a new pair, and I didn't just get a cheap pair from TJ Maxx. I got a nice pair, very comfortable, very cozy. Picked up it because you can never have enough cozy blankets, right? I got a new blanket for myself, and I went to the library. And while I was there, I picked up a cozy like cookbook. I got a cookbook that has a bunch of like good seasonal, like holiday recipes and soups and baked goods. And I decided that at least once a week, I'm going to try to go to the grocery store, bring my kid with me. He loves helping me in the kitchen. And we're just going to pick a new recipe and try some new cozy recipes. So last night I was kneading dough. I made homemade bao buns, which is one of my favorite things to eat out. I love bao buns. If you haven't tried them, I don't know what you're waiting for. And I made this recipe and it was so good. I'm not going to say the bao buns turned out perfectly, but like for my first time, for my first try, okay, this ain't the great American Bake Off. Like I did my best. But it was good. And it kind of, yeah, and it did made the evening a little bit more sparkly and fun. And the kids had fun watching me make a huge mess. And yeah, so romanticizing it by having some fun little, like, new recipes to try and looking forward to the holidays. I'm trying to make plans. I know even now there's some of y'all who, before Mariah Carey even told y'all it was time, y'all had your holiday calendars planned out. That is not me. Nah, it's not me. I have so much going on, but I have tried to plan a couple of things. Now, the holidays is one thing. What really gets difficult is that January, February post holiday slump. This is when we really need to be on it, y'all. What are we doing in January to soothe ourselves, to really, get out of those winter doldrums when it's not so cute because the lights are taken down? There's not a ton of holiday events to look forward to. One of the things I'm looking forward to that I'm going to bring back this year is I hosted a Mama's Night In party a couple of years ago, post holiday season, just to appreciate the moms in my life and all the hard work that we do making that holiday magic happen, because the kids don't know, but Santa ain't real. It's us. It's me. We're doing it. We're making the sparkles happen, right? So just to give a night just for mamas, we make nice food, make cocktails, we get together and support one another. So that's something that I'm really looking forward to. So again, just heading into the winter months, we don't have that much. Like, think of it this way: in just another month, the days will start to get longer, once we get past that winter solstice. But if you, like me, are thinking, okay, here comes the darkness, just let me know what you're sort of doing to take care of yourself and to get through, these cold, cold months, in our lives right now. All right. Now, speaking of hearing from y'all, I want to share a couple of listener reviews. Y'all have been making your girl blush. I happen to be checking out our reviews on Apple, which I haven't checked in a minute. And I had a couple of really, really sweet reviews I wanted to read. One is from listener Kia Real. Kia says, I have been listening to you for years. Your episode, Taking Off the Mask, resonates with me. We support you. Taking off your mask makes you human and relatable. Thank you, Kia. That's so kind. And also another listener, this one doesn't really have a real name, STSP8, says, Mandi, it's okay to be depressed. I started therapy again this week. I felt myself spiraling into the dark spaces and I'm fighting my way back to the light. Fight when you can, rest when you're tired, cry when it hurts. You have to live where you are. It's okay. I'm proud of you for sharing your struggles. Your honesty is helping me heal. Well, way to make your girl cry on a Tuesday while it's snowing outside. Thank you. Thank you so much. Y'all's support, your love, whether or not, the idea of being relatable, it's not necessarily always the goal, I guess, but I think whether you're going through something similar to me or you have in the past, I think it's just an act of like love. And for me, authenticity, I really abide by that. And I want to bring my full self to the show so that y'all really can understand what's going on behind it and, what's happening behind, the mask, the curtain a little bit. And I honestly trust y'all. I genuinely trust you, BA fam. Like I trust you with the like a little bit of a deeper inside look into what I'm going through. And we have built this community, this relationship, you and I, you and us, for 10 years now. If this was just a podcast I started last month, I don't know, I'd be sharing all this. But when you feel that really connected to your community, of course, I'm going to show up for y'all and, be authentic in that way. And you're showing me the love right back, and I just say thank you so much for that. Now, speaking of the holiday season, I wanted to talk about the idea of this boycott. There is this, I think I talked about this a little bit last week, that I was on the Win with Black Women Zoom call that happens every other weekend. Amazing call. If you're not registered, go register. Win with Black Women. I'll put the link in the show notes for y'all. But that was there were some conversations around, we should be really voting with our dollars in a way and being mindful about where we're spending this holiday season. And then, of course, there's a larger, more organized boycott right now that's happening through a couple of different civil rights and social justice organizations, Tamika D. Mallory's, Until Freedom. There's a couple of others, but the idea is we're going to be boycotting. All right. Not just boycotting Target, but actually going beyond that. And specifically, they want us to boycott Amazon, Home Depot, Target, of course, and make sure that this boycott lasts between Black Friday, which is November 28th, through Cyber Monday, December 1. But if you're going to ask me, like, why wait until Black Friday? Like, why not just start the boycott now? Let's make it happen. All right. So in the press release, they say from cravenly abandoning their commitments to diversity, equity, and inclusion to enabling the terrorizing of our communities, corporate collaboration must stop. They're urging the boycott until these major retailers cease collaborating with and enabling this administration's harmful policies. From the day he stepped foot into office, Donald Trump has done everything he can to tear apart the fabric of our communities and strip us of our power and the necessary tools to help us resist his fascist agenda. Instead of fighting back and supporting the very people who put money in their pockets, corporations and retailers have bowed at Trump's feet. But we ain't buying it. That's a quote from Latasha Brown, who co-founded Black Voters Matter, which is one of the organizations behind this protest. So the theme is we ain't buying it, your wallet, your power. You can actually, if you want, like me, sign the petition to pledge that you will not be buying it. Wait, what did I just do? Sorry, the Wisconsin white girl in me just came out. Not me. What's the opposite of code switching? We will not be buying it. We ain't buying it. Anti-Trump groups that are calling on an economic boycott ahead of Thanksgiving weekend. You can sign that petition. I'll put the link in the show notes, whatever you want to call it. We will not be buying it. We ain't buying it. Y'all decide. But the point is, let's actually take our money, and honestly, in this economy, the limited money and resources that we have, and make sure that we are pouring back into the communities to support one another. So I will absolutely be looking to buy black and brown this holiday season. Let me know where y'all are shopping this holiday season. If at all, if you're planning to take part in this boycott, let me know. Honestly, even this is one of those years where if you go ahead and talk to your family now, especially if you have a situation, and we've talked about this on the podcast in the past, if you have a situation where some people in your family are struggling and others are doing okay, and maybe traditions of holiday past, like you would do like what do you call it, like a white elephant or a secret Santa, or everybody would get gifts, and you get gifts for your sister's kids, your brother's kids, and the whole thing. And if that's not feasible for you, I think that this is a really good time to go ahead and have those heart to hearts with your family and just let them know what you're going through. And listen, being vulnerable is not easy. Having only just now, I think, recovered from my own vulnerability hangover from sharing with y'all what's been going on a few weeks ago on the show. I get it. It can be really challenging. But I think what's even more painful than if you were to be vulnerable and honest with your family about what's going on is if you push your way through the holiday season trying to fake it till you make it, putting yourself in a precarious financial situation. If you try to buy the things and to be at that level that you were financially, a year ago or even a couple of years ago, when you're actually not, you could potentially be racking up credit card debt that's just going to be accruing interest. And it may feel good in the moment. And listen, I know, I mean, literally research shows it feels good to be a giver, right? And to see people open your gift and to see the light on their face. And that is really beautiful. However, think of yourself a couple of months down the line opening that credit card statement and saying, "Oh my goodness, I can't afford to pay all this off." Now you've got double digit interest that's, piling on top of that. And while they're off enjoying the present that you got them, you're still, facing those bills. And I just want to, we have to take a moment and slow down and, not get so caught up in the immediacy and the here and now, and think about ourselves in the future and try to visualize that version of yourself in the future. I know on the show, Tiffany would always talk about her 80-year-old self, Wanda. And, I'm not even talking about 80-year-old self. I'm talking about like a few months from now. Think about yourself. And that's going to be the dark winter doldrum season. Okay. Post holiday, I think the financial hangover of the holidays is one of the reason it can be really depressing post holiday season. So I don't want that for us. I don't want that for you. So I'm really encouraging y'all to have those conversations, even if they are a little bit uncomfortable. Go ahead and have them now and make plans with your family and your loved ones, chosen family, whatever it may, your community. Make a plan that doesn't involve putting yourself in a precarious financial situation. That may mean, okay, we're not going to be traveling for the holidays this year, or if we do travel, then we're going to have to plan, okay, no gift giving this year. Maybe we're going to have a nice dinner, have potluck, have a game night, really spend some quality time. Just be frank, honest, authentic with your family, chosen or otherwise, your friends. And do it as an act of love toward yourself. I think what can be tied up in us not wanting to share that, share our struggles with family and friends sometimes, is like there's a little bit of shame around that too, which honestly is just damaging yourself, right? So if we are honest and we open up, it's like we're owning our situation. We're not judging ourselves for it. We're not going to shame ourselves and make ourselves suffer because of what we're going through. And I think this is one way to just, protect ourselves and to love ourselves. And I love y'all. And I'm telling you now, you are enough just as you are, without the gifts, without the money, without the dream job right now. I don't know who needs to hear this. Sometimes I do. You are more than enough and deserving of love and comfort and coziness this holiday season. And that does not have to come, at anyone's expense. Those things are free. Okay. And you still deserve them. Now, speaking of that busted White House, I saw a quote. Y'all know Michelle Obama. I love when she releases a book or she's promoting something, which seems to be she has a new book every year, every other year. So her new book is out this holiday season. It's called The Look, and basically it's a postmortem on all of her iconic fashion, and not just what she wore, but why she wore it, and the team that helped her put those looks together over her years. And she's doing this press tour now. She was in Brooklyn with Tracy Ellis Ross, one of her, and they're like besties. So it sounds like it was a really fun conversation. I wasn't in the room. I wasn't lucky enough to get a ticket. But I was reading some of the quotes, and, she really heartfelt, spoke about what's happening at the White House, the demolition of the East Wing so they can build this $300 million corporate gilded ballroom for who. And, Michelle is basically saying, like, that's where a lot of her work as first lady and her team created a lot of the work and the heart of what was happening in the White House. So for her, it was heartbreaking, and yeah, just another sign that the current administration couldn't give two flying Fs about the hardworking people and the really like the disrespect for the work of for the American people that happened on that part of the White House. So it's always nice to hear from our forever first lady. But you know what else? Someone else's president, not my president, was talking about. I just don't like the policies over social media, like creating new policies and just, spitballing giant policy initiatives that would have sweeping impacts on so many people on social media seems to be this guy's MO. And there were a couple of things I wanted to talk about that Trump recently floated on his own social media platform, Truth Social, which honestly, this is where I got to trust other journalists because I ain't about to download or sign up for nobody's truth. No way. No way. It ain't happening. But according to journalists who have done the dirty work and followed this man on his own social media platform, two things. Trump has floated the idea of a $2,000 tariff rebate check, and also the idea of a 50-year mortgage, a 50-year mortgage, in an effort to increase, or the idea is to increase housing affordability. So I got to talk about this. The first thing on the $2,000 tariff rebate, then why have the tariffs? Like, why put us all through this hell, and why put businesses, this is not like, I know we think about tariffs and we think about, like big corporations overseas that it's going to be harder for them to, make their products and goods overseas because they're going to have these tariffs on them. And yes, those prices, those tariffs really get passed down to us, the consumer, right? They make the products that we buy more expensive. However, like these tariffs have also brought small businesses to the brink of closure, if not actually having to close because of how much more expensive it became for them to do business and how their customers couldn't afford to take on and carry those costs. And so we've actually seen small businesses be really harmed by these types of tariffs. So for him to be like, oh yeah, well, you guys are struggling, like I'll just write a little $2,000 check. This is like giving, what they sort of did, during the pandemic with the stimulus checks. And it just doesn't make any sense. Would anyone love to get a $2,000 check in the mail? Of course you would. Of course. But the whole point of the tariffs, at least politically, or what was said, was to show that America, we are these tough negotiators. And we want to bring more business to American shores. And we want to show, these companies that they need to be investing in building business in America. And if we're just going to be handing out $2,000 checks to Americans to better afford the goods of these companies that are still producing products overseas, then like, is the intended effect actually working? This is only going to further disincentivize companies from investing in American manufacturing, because they're just basically giving Americans money to purchase the products that they're making overseas anyway. And these companies can't just up and create a new manufacturing plant, in Tucson or Kentucky or wherever, they want to build a manufacturing plant. That takes time. And in the meantime, like the incentive for us is going to go away if you give us these checks. And honestly, while you're thinking about this $2,000 tariff dividend check or whatever you want to call it, rebate check, how about we provide healthcare and maybe food subsidies and SNAP benefits for low income families, the millions who are going to be missing out on these subsidies because of this freaking government shutdown? Like, make it make sense. Like, can we actually focus on what could, really help people who are struggling out here? Government shutdown is still underway. It's been day 40 something. My husband ain't been paid. Neither have hundreds of thousands of other federal workers who have been furloughed. And the status there is that the House, we've had some Democrats who have crossed over party lines and said, fine, we're going to sign this stopgap measure, this new bill spending package that Republicans have presented as a compromise, which completely leaves out the subsidies that we need for Obamacare recipients, which was the whole sticking point. That's why Democrats, basically said, like, we're not going to play ball, let the shutdown reign. But in this new compromise, those subsidies are not included. However, if this passes the Senate, then it would effectively see the shutdown ended. Federal agencies will be funded. We'd see the SNAP benefits be reinstated, other things like that. You know what? Like, I don't know about y'all. I'm conflicted on it. I just want people who need food on the table to have food on the table. And I just want hardworking federal employees like my husband to get their damn paychecks. And I understand the fight. I can like intellectually understand why, Democrats have chosen to maybe die on this hill and to push back at this time. I get it, but also like there's enough shit going on. Like, can they find another way? Like, can't we be putting these efforts into like the midterm elections, and creating a blue wave so that we can undo some of these really damaging policies? Like, I just don't know if it's helping or hurting progressives. And I'm leaning toward the side of hurting because I'm sitting here as a progressive myself and I'm freaking over it. Very much so. And I don't know how y'all are feeling. Y'all let me know if I'm missing something here, but just where I'm at right now. Now, the 50-year mortgage, that's what actually genuinely pisses me off because do you know who's going to benefit from a 50-year mortgage? The insult here is that they really don't think that we know how to do math and we don't understand how mortgages work in this country. Like, they're really underestimating our collective intellect, and that just pisses me off right off. Okay. But look here, 50-year mortgage, right? You're going to be paying a higher interest rate on a 50-year mortgage than someone with a 30-year mortgage. Who benefits from the interest that we pay on anything, really? The banks do. 50-year mortgages, it's like writing unlimited blank checks to financial institutions who are going to just, I mean, they are going to make trillions of dollars off the back of Americans, off of these, if these 50-year mortgages go through. Now, the homeowner, and I'm putting homeowner in big quotations, because when you take out a 50-year mortgage on a home and you're targeting low income people or people who just aren't able to afford a traditional mortgage, they're not going to be able to put up a huge down payment. So you're basically saying you're never going to own any part of this house. It's going to take you forever to actually build equity in this home. So you're not actually going to own anything. And I ran this calculation through my best friend Perplexity. So just hypothetically speaking, let's think about homeowner A and homeowner B, right? So they each get a $500,000 home, and based on today's mortgage rates, that's like 6.5% for homeowner A. And then homeowner B has the 50-year fixed rate mortgage. I don't know what the interest rates could be, but just to be on the more conservative side, let's say they're just 1 percentage point higher. So homeowner B is paying 7.5% on a 50-year mortgage. Just look at the difference. So the 30-year mortgage at 6.5%, they'll pay a total of $637,000 of interest over 30 years on a 30-year mortgage. The 50-year mortgage, girl, y'all got to worry about her, okay? This the total interest they would pay over 50 years, $1.4 million in interest over a 50-year term. And not even like a little bit of equity earned over that time. So let's break that down. In just 5 years, homeowner A, making that monthly payment is going to be, it will have about 6% equity. Homeowner B, who's making with a 50-year mortgage, will have 1% equity in their home. By year 20, the 30-year mortgage homeowner will have 44% equity in their home. The 50-year homeowner, 8%. 20 years in, that's all you have to show for it. So, like, in what world does this make sense? Like, just keep renting at that point, because you're not even talking about once you own a home, you got to pay for your own maintenance. Anything happens, it's on you. Like, there's just no, it's just dumb. And it genuinely, it makes zero sense. And again, this is why we shouldn't just be spitballing policies on a social media, clickety clack, clack, clacking at the keys. Because unfortunately, like, this is the thing about having an incompetent leader. His henchmen, his minions, they're ready. They're at his beck and call. And when he puts out things like this, these ideas, they're running, they're scrambling. Okay, how can we make this happen? Let's get this da 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 da. Like the cat's out of the bag. It's hard to put the genie back in the bottle, and these things can start to actually exist. And for a product like this, I mean, it's extremely toxic. And like, if there's any even whiff of this thing actually becoming real, then I will just I'll do my damnedest to keep educating y'all and helping y'all understand what this really means. But I can tell you right now, the only people this benefits are the big bad banks. Okay. And who do they really need more? Like, let's be for real. No, they don't. I think about him. Which one of y'all has also had that song in your head since Halloween? Since about the time Kayla Nicole's now viral Toni Braxton tribute video broke the internet, and what's happening to Kayla right now. And I didn't even know who she was, let's be honest, before this whole like Taylor Swift, Travis Kelce, Kayla Nicole, beef started to happen. I just love I love me some Toni Braxton as the daughter of the 90s, and the daughter of a woman who was going through a brutal divorce. We used to crank that shit up. We used to crank up Toni and Celine Dion in the car. So I love that music. And I just love that there was a tribute to it, right? But in posting that video, Kayla incited the wrath of the Swifties. And you know what's like even more, I'm finding it hard to believe. Any dum-dum who understands how to hit delete on an old tweet, we could do our own social media cleanups. But Kayla Nicole caught herself like in 2025. Are we really still having prominent like figures get embarrassed by their past selves and the ludicrous things they used to post on the internet? Like, it is so lazy at this point that it's like, okay, well, you kind of deserve it if you're not going to clean it up yourself. But yeah, they went and uncovered some really racist, classless, just dumb tweets that Kayla had posted. I mean, in one, she was saying some racist things about, I think, Indian people, gay people. I saw some jokes that were like, well, at least she's, racist across the board and not just to any one group. But listen, girl, like, you really could have gone out on a win. And I'm like, come on, y'all, clean up your socials. Like, what actually is going on? Other pop culture news, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame inductees, like, it was really gratifying to see Outkast get inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Y'all watched Tyler the Creator do Bombs Over Baghdad with Big Boy and Andre 3000. That was iconic, epic. But also Salt and Pepper, come on now, push it real good. Always exciting. I think we had Grammy nominations also come out. And listen, y'all, I can't really say that I follow a lot of um like music news, but yeah, I was excited to see Cynthia Erivo and get nominated for Defying Gravity. That's the kind of dork I am these days. I'm just keeping it a buck. But yeah, fun times. Grammys are happening. The Weeknd apparently has no beef with the Grammys anymore. He's like all cool now. And then they went and didn't nominate him for anything that he put out in 2020. Kind of sucked. But yay for, building bridges and getting over things. That's always nice. All right, BA fam, I'm going to take a quick break and I will be right back with Brown Boost or Brown Break. Which one is it going to be? Stick around. Hey, BA fam, we're back. Welcome back to the show. I'm here with Brown Boost, Brown Break. Which one is it going to be? I think I'm going to take a little bit of both today. I am going to take a big break for some more truly depressing layoff news in October. The highest number of corporate layoffs in over 2 decades. We're talking 2 decades, the highest number of corporate layoffs. Something on the order of 153,000 Americans had their jobs cut in October. That is more than, about triple, almost 3 times as many from this time last year when we only lost 55,000 jobs. And it's, the highest total since 2003. If that person, if you're one of the 150,000, our heart goes out to you. I hope you are getting, the support that you need at this time. But that is brutal. So the leading sectors that were cut in October, we had tech, which has continued to lead in these job cuts. And at this point, I'm kind of tired of y'all blaming like, oh, this is to course correct after the hiring surge of the pandemic. Like that's not what's happening. It's pure, I think, automation and paving the way for AI and, these efficiency creators, these AI tools. And that's why we're seeing such steep job cuts. In October, they were responsible for 33,000 job cuts. And in total this year, tech has announced 141,000 job cuts, which is just an insane number. Also, retail, they announced 2,000 job cuts in October. And also, just going down the list, warehousing, consumer products, nonprofits. Nonprofits are actually, I don't think we're talking about this enough, but a real victim and, really being hurt by the government layoffs, the whole doge of it all, and the decrease in funding for basically any progressive initiatives, any progressive, especially anything DEI related. The government ain't funding it. A friend of mine also, she works in cancer research, and even some of their funding has been cut. If anything is tied to, anything that would be seen as progressive or anti the current administration. So nonprofits also have had huge cuts, 27,000 job cuts in nonprofits this year, which is up this is nuts, up 400% from 2024. In 2024, only 5,300 nonprofit jobs were cut. This year, 27,000. That's crazy. Jesus. Media also, it's been tough, especially in Black and Brown, newsrooms or news teams. The media industry announced 16,000 job cuts in 2025, up from 13,000 last year. Yeah, really, really chilling stuff. There's not really a way to silver lining this. All right. So my brown boost this week is going to be art and inspiration and creating. I know we talked about romanticizing the winter months and creating moments to embrace and celebrate artists. I think like artists are always, the first, I think, to struggle during tough economic times. And at the same time, the way that art can move you and inspire you and help you to keep going is so powerful. And it just doesn't make sense why we underappreciate the artists in our world. But I had the opportunity to support Sibo Campbell. He's the author our Brown Ambition book club pick, our first ever Brown Ambition book club pick, Sky Full of Elephants. If you haven't read it yet, what are you waiting for? Please, it's an incredible book. But that book came out over a year ago, and Sibo was inspired and had so many artists who were inspired by the book that he decided to put on a whole event all around the Sky Full of Elephants. And he had different artists in their chosen mediums create art that they created inspired by his book. And Sky Full of Elephants, if you don't know, the short version, well, a little, I don't want to give any spoilers. And this actually, it sounds like a spoiler, but it's not. In the beginning of the book, we are in post America. That's happened after an event where one day all of the white people in America find the nearest body of water, walk into it, and drown themselves. And the book picks up there. We meet a couple of key characters, and we kind of see what happens in an America where Black and brown people no longer have, are no longer have to compare ourselves or see ourselves through the lens of the majority, through, the white American lens, and what that actually means, and what happens. And so at this event in New York, SIBO, there were singers, dancers, painters, and most beautiful art on display, art that your girl definitely could not afford, but yay, I hope someone bought it. It was co-hosted by Lena Waithe, incredible, talented artist herself, screenwriter and actor. And that was just very exciting. Oh my God, the food, it was catered by Aunts and Uncles, which is a vegan spot in Brooklyn. And they created this beautiful tablescape. Like, if you read the book, you know that there's this point when one of the main characters sort of embraces her Black identity and kind of gets welcomed into the new kingdom that exists, after this event. And they called it Vivian's Table. And this is a lot of like inside stuff. If you haven't read the book, I don't want to bore you with it, but it was just a really beautiful event. And, Sibo, we talked a little bit. He dipped into his own pocket to put on this event. He couldn't even find sponsors for it, which really pisses me off. But he made it happen, and it was a really beautiful celebration of art. And I got to I couldn't afford $30,000 paintings, but I was able to support this incredible incense. What do we call it? Like an herbalist? I don't know. She was there. Her name's Jasmine. Her company is called The Black Myth. I'll put a link in the show notes. You can check her out. And she sells these little mini incense sticks that she hand makes with different herbs. And she created some custom scents inspired by the book. But I got a little, I'm not a big incense girl, but I was like, I'm going to try this because they smelled really nice. Incense is like really strong for me, but at the same time, I like the idea of like a mini version, so it wouldn't burn as long, and like could kind of like incorporate it into my cozy, romanticized winter routine and have a little moment of reflection, meditation, and have my little incense. And I already used one, and it was really nice. It actually wasn't like terribly strong. I mean, it is incense, so like your house is going to smell like it if you burn it. My husband's like, "What are you doing out here?" I'm like, "Just leave me alone. Just leave me alone. I'm having a witchy moment. It's fine, okay?" And I did my little meditation, and it was really nice. And Jasmine, Black owned business out of Nashville, and she came up just for that event. So thank you to Sibo for. And I tried to articulate to him how I was feeling at the end of it, and I was like, you're just like this nucleus, like this the center point, this like, like light source at the center of all these other, powerful beings. And like the way that he could bring the artist together to celebrate his work, it was, the word for it was inspiring, truly. And especially after the hell week that I had with sick babies and being sick myself, I'm really glad that I dragged myself out the house to go. And it was just, yeah, incredibly special. And so my brown boost goes to Sibo and the talent that he was able to bring together to celebrate his work and to amplify it. And wherever you can support artists, especially these cold, dark months coming, like, let's go out, support art, especially if we're not going to be spending at, these big box retailers. We're doing the we ain't buying it protest this holiday season. How can we support, local Black and brown artists and yeah, and keep their work going, especially at dark times like these. All right, BA fam, I'm going to leave it there. Thank you so much for tuning into the show this week. I'm back on Friday. I promise we're bringing BA Q&A back. I took a little time off. We're going to be bringing you fresh BA QAs, also taking a little look back at some of the most popular episodes of 2025 as we head into closing out the year this holiday season. Thank you so much for the love and support. If you want to leave a review, I would love that so much. You can leave me a review on Apple Podcasts. You can also comment on this episode specifically on Spotify. I love to see y'all's comments. Shout out to Netta and Asia who are always commenting on every, like, I love y'all and I read every one and I look forward to, I'm like, what are Netta and Asia going to think about the show this week? And to Regina on YouTube, one of my loyal YouTube viewers, you can catch these shows on YouTube, y'all, at Brown Ambition Podcast. Thank y'all so much for the love. And I hope that this episode finds you wherever you are. Just know that you are enough. I love you so much. Thank you for listening. And I will see y'all on Friday for the BAQA. Bye. Take care.